Good evening and welcome to the Kim B. Davis Show. I'm your host, Kim B. Davis, and this evening we have one of our favorite guests. We have Mr. Eric Harp, our certified professional fitness trainer and educator. And this evening, along with current events, we're going to talk about holidays and fitness. Good evening, Mr. Harp. How are you?
Mrs. Davis, I'm doing well. Thank you very much for having me this evening.
No problem. I am so excited. So let's get to it because we got a lot of current events to talk about.
Oh,
So
yes.
let's start with the sobering news that we have going on in the world. We have two wars now. Actually, we have three. Let me clarify. We have three. We have the war in Gaza between Israel and Palestine. We have the war in Ukraine between Ukraine and Russia. And we have an ethnic cleansing happening in the Congo. The statistics coming out of the Congo, I believe they said every hour, 48 women are raped. 50% do not survive it. 1 million people have been displaced because of this war and the violence, and children are not immune. I don't know, this seems like a theme, and I'm not making light of it, but there used to be a time where children, you didn't take a child as a hostage. In the war in Gaza, they said that the Hamas has a toddler as a hostage. And I thought, a toddler, you mean like a 2, 3 year old? They can, I mean, not barely talk, but mommy, daddy, that's all we know. Go ahead and get into it, Mr. Hurt.
I'm sure you see the look of disgust on my face.
Yes.
Let me hit this from a couple fronts. The war in the Congo has been going on for a very, very, very long time.
Yes.
In our fair country, it's kind of amazing to me that as soon as you start mentioning the kidnapping, the brutalization of children in the Middle East, all of a sudden it's time to worry.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, there was one time there was some kind of morality to war,
Mm-hmm.
where the children were off limits. Doesn't seem to be the case any longer, especially from the news reports that we hear going on right now. Now as you mentioned, we have the war in the Congo, utterly despicable. We have the war in Ukraine, which has been going on for a very long time right now. And in our fair country, we're fighting over how much funds we're going to give to Ukraine to fight this war. And then last but not least, the biggest headlines is the war between Israel and Hamas. Now, as horrible as it is, this is brother against brother. And for those who don't understand the biblical connotations that Abraham, the two sons of Abraham, Ishmael and Isaac, and Ishmael, the father of the Arabs, and Isaac of the Jewish lineage. And so this is brother against brother, and it's been going on for a very long time. However, what's going on right now, this media blitz, they're bombing hospitals.
Yes.
They're bombing hospitals, and
Mm-hmm.
and they're pointing the finger at who's the most atrocious at this thing called war, and who's really who's really trying to destroy whom. And we have the leader of Israel saying that he is not going to stop until every last member of Hamas is obliterated. Mm-hmm. Which, of course, now means that he's going to destroy these Palestinian people.
Right.
In our fair country, we're taking sides. We've always been on the side of Israel, backing Israel, no matter what their decisions, and helping them out of their situations. But now in this country, you have many Palestinians, and this is not a war against the Jews and the Palestinians. This is Hamas and Israel.
Mm-hmm.
But the Palestinians and the Jewish people are caught up in the middle. And now it's who's worse? Who's worse, the Palestinians or the Jews? Who do you support the most? People are losing college scholarships. People are getting kicked out of schools. The people are losing their jobs over which side that
Mm-hmm.
they root for.
Yeah. Presidents of
And
universities are expected to make
yes,
statements.
yes,
Donors are pulling money. If the view is considered extreme, depending on what side you're on for colleges and universities, it is a very contentious situation, just in
a
terms of
serious
people
tightrope.
of people asking for support on either side.
And it all comes down to, in my opinion, is which one do you want obliterated?
Right.
And that's not the way it goes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we root for obliterate the Palestinians, or do we root for obliterating the Jews?
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who's on the side of don't kill the Palestinian is going to be on the obliterate the Jews.
Right.
And anyone on the don't kill the Jews is lumped in with the obliterate the Palestinians.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a horrible situation. And a 2-year-old, a toddler,
Mm-hmm.
as a hostage, just a mention of a child, just a
Yes.
mention of a child
Mm-hmm.
pulls on the heartstrings.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's going to initiate sympathy or empathy on either side.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a very horrible situation. There's no correct side to be on.
It's not.
Uh, the only correct side is peace
Mm-hmm.
and love, and it doesn't seem like either side is has any room for that.
Right.
And so that's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's wrong on face value. And so, who are we protecting? Who's America protecting? Is America protecting its interests, its monetary interests with Israel, or are they really trying to liberate people?
Mm-hmm.
Because nothing has moved on this hostage situation.
Nothing.
In this their D-Day was October 7th, and here we are a month and a week after that,
Mm-hmm.
and there's absolutely no budge, no movement on hostages. They can't even agree on a ceasefire to
Right.
get the hostages or to get any medical aid inside. So
Even just
this
to
is
take
this
a
is one of the
pause.
worst wars. This is one of the worst wars and worst times to pick a side that
Right.
I've read.
Mm-hmm.
Not let alone been alive for.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the worst times, and so no matter what side you're on the wrong side.
Exactly. Exactly. Children are dying. There was a report where they were talking about how there were bombings happening in hospitals. So you have to think about it. You have newborns who've just been born who are in containers, ICU units, or just the maternity ward where babies are housed until they can go home. But there is no home because places are being bombed and people are afraid and trying to get out, and all
It's,
all the things that we know that happen in war are happening.
oh
And
yes, definitely
the videos that I've seen of dead children, of children stabbed, children decapitated, where parents are
lost
like,
limbs.
yes, where parents are saying, give me my son's head. And I thought, wow. There was a video I saw of a mother who's a doctor. She was in the hospital. They brought her son in. He died. And this woman collapsed on the floor. And I was like, I couldn't imagine being in a situation and you are powerless to help your child. And when I say they were restraining, the hospital staff was restraining her, they said we're going to do everything we can. They ended not being able, so he was too far gone. But it's just one of those searing images in your mind that just never leaves you because it's so jarring to see it.
The depravity and the barbarity that the barbarianism that we're capable of,
Mm-hmm.
that we as a people are capable of, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of course, for to every person, we feel right. To each person feels right, in their convictions on
Mm-hmm.
why they're doing whatever that is that they're doing. And so again, in our capacity over here in America, as we're just spectators, many of us, and I empathize for those who have family members that are affected, those who especially have family members that can't get out of the country.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but we as spectators, you know, it's treated like what team do you root for?
Right. Like
You
it's a
know,
sport, like almost
like
like a sporting event. Like this
like
is
it's a sporting event.
we
And
act as if we're watching this on television, and we are, but it's not a movie. This isn't a script. The people don't get to go home at the end of the day and go be with their families. These people are dead, regardless as to what side you're on. And I'm not taking sides, but
no,
people are dying.
it's once again, it's whatever side you take, you're on the wrong side.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and we are all about what side are you on. In this
Mm-hmm.
country, we're all about, are you red, are you blue, are you Democrat, are you Republican?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, especially what race you are.
Right.
Now we're confused on what sex you claim. And
Mm-hmm.
so but here we are definitely taking sides on this particular conflict. And
Absolutely.
I mean, and there's so much more that's going on, but this is definitely taking up the headlines.
Mm-hmm.
And then our politicians,
Oh
as we
yes.
always come back into our politicians, you know, they're caught up in, they're caught up in commitments, and they're caught up in promises. You rub my back, I'll rub your back. And
Mm-hmm.
now the chickens are coming home to roost. And now these things are coming home. What are you really going to do?
Right.
And then we see poll numbers for those who believe in the polls. They see poll
Mm-hmm.
numbers go up. You see poll numbers go down.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you wonder who has the support. And you know, we're in Michigan. We're in the Detroit area. And
Mm-hmm.
for those who are not aware of the uh, uh, of the of the racial makeup in our area, we have a lot of people that represent countries in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of our population is right at the epicenter. And
Dearborn,
so,
Michigan is the largest population of Arabic people outside of the Middle East, wholly. Of every nation represented there. I'm not saying that they all live in Dearborn, but that
no,
tends to be
but
the
that is the
place that,
concentration. That is the highest
yes,
concentration.
that is
And
the
it
highest
becomes a mixing,
concentration.
and it
Mm-hmm.
becomes a mixing pot. It becomes a melting pot of the Arabic countries, of
Mm-hmm.
all of the various countries and and other regions. And so when you start having to take a side, when
Mm-hmm.
you start having to uh, separate yourselves and pull aside, it becomes noticeable.
Right.
And now there's conflict all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's persecuted.
Right.
Everyone is persecuted, and now it becomes, oh, whose victim is the best? Who's the worst victim?
Who
Who's
suffered
had
the
it the
worst?
worst? Who suffered
Mm-hmm.
the worst?
Mm-hmm.
And by suffering the worst, that's going to make you the best or make you first in line to be entitled for something else.
Right.
And it's not, that shouldn't be how it goes. But, it seems to be a lot of the way, the attitudes get slanted.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be a lot of the reasons that more fights come on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, no, I suffered the most. No, I suffered the most.
Right.
And I'm going to show you that I suffered the most.
Right.
And so it becomes a horrible situation. Now, my prayers go out to all of the people suffering,
Mm-hmm.
and for those that uh, need to be awakened. I really hope that they get awakened really soon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then some of these right decisions get made. It's way beyond myself and you just talking about it. It's a good conversation piece, but
Mm-hmm.
this is a conflict that hasn't been nipped in the bud in thousands of years.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
there's the only thing that can save it is more love and peace.
Absolutely. So let's switch gears, Mr.
Yes.
Hart, and talk about our new House Speaker, Mike
Ooh,
Johnson. He is a Republican out of Louisiana. Go ahead and take it away.
ooh, ooh.
I know. Go ahead.
He's got an easy name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's got an easy name. Let's see. Let me look at the clock. What are we about a few days from a shutdown?
Yes, we are.
So what did this dude come in and do? Just change the nameplate on the desk? Uh he still has to answer to the same people.
Yes.
Um and even if he tries to go behind their back and make a deal, because he has to make a deal, the
Mm-hmm.
Republicans by themselves can't keep the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't even turn the lights on.
Right.
So by themselves, they
Mm-hmm.
need some Democratic help. And so he has to reach across the aisle. And that's what got the first guy kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mike McCarthy, who had an easy name. Mike
Mm-hmm.
McCarthy reached across the aisle to keep the government
Kevin
open.
McCarthy.
Or
Kevin
excuse me,
McCarthy.
Kevin. Oops.
That's okay.
Kevin McCarthy.
Yes.
Kevin McCarthy went across the aisle and made a deal in order to keep the government open at the last minute. And then they kicked him out.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, it's in disarray. It's in shambles, and it has been for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking at the next presidential election next year in 2024 to hope to bring it all make sense, with Donald Trump getting back in office. But it's not making sense. And
At
again,
all.
we're on the verge of a shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go through this all over again. We just got off strikes with the big three.
Mm-hmm.
We just got off strikes with the SAG and the AFTRA actors.
Right.
And now we're on the verge of going on strike with the government again.
Which means it's social security checks that need to be dispersed, other needed government programming that benefits families, from social services that keep food on people's tables to Medicare. A lot of these things could possibly be interrupted because of a shutdown. They won't necessarily stop, but there will be a delay because there's a shutdown.
We're
And that,
on the verge of all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas
yes,
again.
yes, yes.
This is nothing new. This is something that we're like, again,
We've been kicking this
again.
can down the road for a really long time. The United States has $1 trillion plus. You can't. I don't.
Surplus.
Right. I don't even know if we knew we could count that high. Surplus in debt, and at some point we're going to have to address this because all we're doing is, as the political pundits like to say, we're just kicking a can down the road until somewhere somebody has to say, you know what? We can't afford this. And either the country is going to go bankrupt or it's going to be some real dark
We
time.
have the money. We have the money. We just have to have the right people to approve it. Let it go.
Yes.
Do
Yes.
this.
Yes.
And they wait until the last minute. Now, here we are again. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you and I, for several months, have talked about the ineptitude of these committees trying to find this information on Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
With renewed vigor,
Yes.
as soon as they got a new speaker, here they go again.
Mm-hmm.
And a month later, we're at a shutdown.
Exactly.
Now, I just heard last week they got brand new subpoenas for the Biden family
Mm-hmm.
on the same week that all the Trumps went to and stood in
In
trial.
court. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every last Trump went and stood on the stand.
Mm-hmm. Donald
In the
Jr.,
same week.
Ivanka, all of them. Yes.
Every last one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Donald waited until the following Monday.
You're right.
But and that was a show. But
Mm-hmm.
they can do all of this in the week, and yet they still can't get this together.
Mm-hmm.
We got brand new subpoenas. Brand
Mm-hmm.
new.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't pay the bills yet because we haven't signed the checks yet.
Right.
You know, our government is something else. You know, and I'm watching it all. The Jenna Ellis who's in trouble again, and Fannie Willis getting her stuff together, ready for it. Michigan says that they're not going to address Donald Trump being left off the ballot. Oh,
Right.
there's a whole lot of things going on, but
Yes,
yet
it is.
we can't pay the bills on time.
Right.
It's,
And we need to add this, Mr. Harp, because I thought it was interesting that letters are being sent to different electors around the nation, people that work in our local county clerk or local clerk offices, and they're being threatened. Some of them have had things such as fentanyl laced in the envelope. And I thought, are we really doing this again? Wow. So it's like it's a coordinated effort.
I mean, what else could it be?
Right. Right.
What else could it be? Now I'm, and I don't want to just shout out, "Oh, they're out to get us," but
It does feel like that.
call,
Mhm.
a spade, and
Right.
these things don't happen by accident over and over again.
Mhm.
It's not a pattern of accidents. You
Mhm.
know, and it always seems to happen around election time or around the changing of the guard time. So,
And what did Trump say? Trump said, I believe at some rally someplace, because he's still out there campaigning. And it's interesting because the latest poll numbers had him leading President Biden. And I thought, really? Yes.
now he's leading Biden, but he was losing to someone else, and
Yes. But remember, he also said if he got back in office, that he was going to bring charges against
wow.
everybody that was after him. And I thought, oh,
I was gonna bring that up, and I'm glad you
yes,
did
please. Yes.
because you know I hear people are calling it a campaign of retribution.
Mm-hmm.
But he's on record.
Mm-hmm.
He's on record saying that he's going to get everybody who's out after him, and
Mm-hmm.
then the people who disagree with him, he's going to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to
Mm-hmm.
lock them up,
Or
and
they're
then
executed or
or
have them.
execute it. Yeah,
Right. I was like,
with a
wow.
smile on his face, and he says this
Yes.
with a smile on his face, and of course, we cut to the reaction of some of his supporters, and they're like, "Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
get
Mm-hmm.
him."
Mm-hmm.
They already wanted to hang Mike Pence, so what's getting rid of another opponent?
Right.
So it's easy to say, "What does this world come to?"
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to say that, throw up your hands and say, "I give up."
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's amazing that there are a lot of people who've done this,
Mm-hmm.
and their deeds and actions have given up,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't give up. We got to stay
Absolutely.
on grassroots, and so, and I
Right.
know that I know that you work within polling and campaigning, and we need to get out there. We need
Mm-hmm.
more people to get out there. We need more people to get involved in their civic activities. You know, and it can start small. It doesn't have to be jump to the big thing right away. But we need more people to get involved in our civil discourse.
Mm-hmm. Be educated on what the issues are in your local community. Every election is important, whether it's your PTA, at your local neighborhood school, as we see
Mhm.
with mass shooters. And here in Michigan, we have Oxford. And I don't want to dwell on this for too long, but I know there was a latest report, I believe it was by the superintendent, someone within their district was talking about all the failings that led to the mass shooting at Oxford. Parents were enraged. And this isn't a community where people weren't involved. They were very involved. Just nobody knew or understood the situation that was at hand until it took such a devastating turn. And if you want to stave off disaster, if you want to turn the tide back on some bad things happening in your community, be involved. Know what's happening on your own front porch. Look over at your neighbor.
And look
See
at your
what's
neighbor too. Yeah.
Look at your neighbor. See, do they need help? You know, and this is a little off subject, but I tell my children, and you know this, Mr. Harp, our children grew up in a generation where something happens. What do? They pull their cell phones out. They record it. No one calls for help. No one says, oh, that person was just hit by a car. Let me go and give them assistance. Let me try and stop traffic. Let me call 911. Let me call the police. Let me go get an adult. Nothing. Everybody stands there and
And film
records
it.
it.
Yeah.
And then they share, I was there. Okay, but you didn't do anything. You were just there. And that's sort of what it feels like in the world. Like
We're
everybody is just,
spectators.
we are
Spectators.
spectators. We are not participants until afterwards. And then we want to go back and complain and be the couch coach and say, oh,
Yeah.
well, why didn't you do?
You should have been. You should have
Right,
done. You should have
right.
done.
But the
Yeah.
responsibility falls back on you. And I like what you said, Mr. Harp, because it's very important. Because I want to move us along into our fitness because the holidays are here. The holidays are one of my favorite times of the year. And I know it's very difficult with all the things happening in the world. And it feels like everyone's arguing and everybody's angry. But the holidays are here. And this should be a time that we spend with families and friends and people that are close to us and loved ones. And I know, we are about 2 years out from COVID now, because this is 2023, even though it's still lingering, but people are getting together, they're in person. Talk to us, Mr. Harp, about how we should maintain our fitness goals. Because
Well,
some of us are looking at the holidays like, oh, sweet potato pie, peach cobbler, apple pie, all kinds of yummy things. And I heard somebody saying, well, holiday calories don't count. And I was cracking up. I said, oh, yes, they do. That turns into 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds. And then on January 1, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to work out. And then January 2nd, you're like, oh, that didn't work out. I don't know what I'm going to do. So give us some advice, Mr. Hart.
well, I'm glad you asked. For first off, happy holiday season.
Yes.
As we approach the season, listen, we've had some goals and been working through those goals. Um, this is that time of year where we start to slip up. This is also that time of year where, for those who feel guilty about slipping up, are looking forward to the new year coming. Because now I got plans that I'm gonna stay right. And this is a common attitude, but what this is a slippery slope, because this becomes that binge and starve model. Okay, we binge and starve, binge and starve. Um, the holidays are coming up. By no means am I advocating not enjoying yourself. I want everyone to be as happy and enjoy themselves, and food should not be the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we keep our fitness goals intact, food's not the issue. Eat and enjoy. Okay, food is there to be enjoyed. Food is there to be eaten and enjoyed. Um, Many of us have a tendency to go overboard, um, because it's Thanksgiving, because it's Christmas, and everything in between. We bring out all the pots and pans, and we're gonna cook meals we haven't cooked in months, and then we're gonna eat and feed as many people as we can see. Again, the food is there to be enjoyed. What I would hope that everyone does is have and maintains their fitness goals. Keep moving. Keep moving. If you've been moving, then you don't have to worry too much. If you haven't moved yet, then hurry up. Let's get on that plan. Okay. If the first of the year is what we need to do, step it up a couple months or step it up a month. Start December 1st. Go ahead and enjoy the meal on Thanksgiving, and December 1st, hit it hard. And by the time Christmas comes around, you're 3 weeks into it, that it shouldn't be an issue again. And then we're right back on it first of the month. And those are good indicators too. Use them as first of the month. Use them as our calendars, as they do. You work on a plan for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then we start again at week 1, and week 2, and week 3, and week 4. So we don't have to worry about 25 weeks, 27 weeks. But we just constantly look at it in the short terms and keep moving. Stay with the plan. The holidays are just another time to take a break and enjoy, and then get back onto your plan. You know, I I've had many clients come in at the first of the year
Mm-hmm.
and say, "Hurry up, get me right. Summer's coming." You know, hurry up, get me right. I got to look good on this trip that I'm taking in the spring. And hey, we can work hard. We manage expectations, but come on, let's work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then day one is day one, and we keep it moving. All right. So there's never a bad time to start. And if you stop, start again and just start back at one. And now you work out 10 days. Okay. Get your 10 days in and now do 20. And set a mark for yourself. Set a goal for yourself. You don't have to do it by the long goal. Shorten it up
Mm-hmm.
so that you can hit those markers and it'll keep you going. You just got a goal. Good. You feel good about yourself. You hit 2 goals. Now you start feeling really good. So it's all about scheduling. But please enjoy those holidays. Get out there and enjoy the holidays. Keep moving. And let's set a start time.
I like that, Mr. Hart. So I just read an article and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. There was an article that said 15 minutes of exercise, specifically walking after a meal. If you walk for 15 minutes after each meal, it has immense benefits. It lowers your blood pressure, it gives you those feel good hormones, and it helps the food that you just ate digest because you're moving. I was telling my husband, I said, oftentimes we always think at Thanksgiving we have that turkey and that macaroni and cheese and the yams. I'm making myself hungry. Mashed potatoes and gravy and greens and all the and fried corn and cornbread and all that good stuff. And then everybody's like, "Oh, I have itis. I'm sleepy," and everybody's just on the couch, watching TV, laid out. And I started thinking, what would be great if everybody as a family got up and took a walk around the block
Hey,
and
hey,
watched, because there are
come on.
Christmas
Come
lights,
on.
Thanksgiving decorations, all kinds of things, and got out and just bonded as a family. Is that a good idea, Mr. Harper? Is that
That's a
something?
great idea. That's a great idea. For one, it's unity in the family. You're getting to do an activity together. All right. Each person have their own experience, but you share those experiences. All right. Um, Two, you stay fit together. Okay. You can constantly move, have fun together. The key word is together. All right. Now, walking after eating,
Mm-hmm.
it's a great thing. For one, let's think of it as the food for your body is the fuel for your car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As your car moves, it's going to burn that fuel. It's not going to burn it when it's sitting still. Okay. And the better gas you put in it, the better way your car's going to run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the better food that you eat, the better your body functions. Now, metabolism, you know, it's a big word that a lot of us hear about metabolism, metabolism. Well, once your body gets moving, now your metabolism,
Mm-hmm.
you got a high metabolism. And that means that it's going to burn that fuel even while you rest. Okay. So going to walk is going to boost your metabolism. Now, feeling good, that feel good feeling, those are those endorphins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those endorphins, now food has endorphins, working out, and you're going to feel really good from both. Now, just the moving, feeling good, the way it's going to burn the fuel, that should just make you feel good as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Being together as a family, sharing those experiences, everything is all positive. Okay. So the study is correct, that walking after a meal is going to make you feel better. It's going to help you to maintain your weight. Um, it's also going to make you want to do other things. Um, that feel good feeling, has a big effect. And if you do it as a family, just imagine the closeness and the unity that you'll have as a family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is great advice, Mr. Hurt. So last question. You know, the
Yes.
holidays can be trying for some people. Some people struggle with depression. They feel alone, a lot of those things. And you talk a lot, Mr. Harp, about exercising this muscle.
Mhm.
Can you talk about the benefits of fitness during the holidays, specifically helping to alleviate some symptoms of depression? I know that it's not necessarily a substitute for having people around. However, it can help you refocus um, how you see things, how you view the world.
That is very true. Now, in its simplest form, as I mentioned, the endorphins, that feel good feeling, okay, can alleviate some of those Christmas blues or holiday blues, okay. The routine, uh, the routine that it takes to continue, um, will help alleviate some of the downtime.
Mm-hmm.
And then the gym is also a social setting. There
Mm-hmm.
are people inside the gym
Mm-hmm.
that you could meet, that you could share stories with, you could work out together, create bonds, create friendships. It is a good place to meet people and like-minded people, especially if they're there during the holidays as well. There shouldn't be shouldn't be negative. Um, you know, I wish that everyone is the happiest that they could be during these holidays, whatever that may bring.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the working out this biggest muscle right here, just the fact of the continuing, stay on the path, stay on the journey. There's more to come. Oh, there are more good things to come. The holidays, they will come again, they will go, and they will come again.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 365 days in the year. So we look at each one individually and we try to make it to the next one. And if we set a plan, we set a goal, well, we work it by the week. Get through the first week, get through week number two, week three, week four, then start again at week number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then now there's only 12 months instead of 52 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're working out in a 5-day week, well, we look at it that week is 5 days instead of 7 days. you know,
Mm-hmm.
however your outlook can determine your success. Oh, and the more positive that we try to outlook, the more positive the outcome.
Absolutely. That is a great way to end our show, Mr. Hart. But before we get out of here, tell us how we can find you on social media and tell us how we can reach you.
If you want to email me, you can find me at ericharp9@gmail.com. Just send me a little message and I'll respond. You can also find me at ESQ360 on all your social platforms.
Thank you for Mr. Hart for being on the Kim B. Davis show. We really appreciated you coming and talking to us about holidays and fitness. I know that we'll have another exciting topic next month, and we will continue to talk about current topics, especially Donald Trump, because he'll probably still be on trial next month.
I
And
don't
I'm
doubt
sure
it.
I don't doubt it either. And I know there'll be more shenanigans and more details where we'll just be like, "Ooh, did you expect that?" No, I didn't. So we look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you again for being on the
Thank
Kim
you,
B.
Mrs.
Davis.
Davis. As always, it's a pleasure being with you. Best to you and your family.
And same to you and yours. Thank you guys for tuning into the Kim B. Davis Show. You know, you can find me everywhere on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn, everywhere is Kimberly Bachelor Davis. You can see this show at youtube.com/Kimberly or the Kim B. Davis Show. You can hear the show, forgive me, guys. Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Wisdom. You can learn more about me as an author at kimbdavis.com. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope you'll join us on our next episode. And as always, remember, be magnificent.